I'm going to call the meeting to order at 5:51, and I want to welcome everybody to the second and final round of deliberations for our fiscal year 2021-2022 CDBG funding. Thank you everybody for joining us, and I appreciate everybody's patience as we get everything together here for this remote meeting. I'm Ryan Fisher. I'm the chairperson for the Block Grant Advisory Committee. I'm also joined by our Block Grant Advisory Committee members who will be introduced shortly through the roll call. And Rosie, if you would like to go ahead and please start to do roll call, would be great.
Sure. Okay, Ryan Fisher.
Here.
Jason Tamura.
Here.
Angel Lopez. Esther Acosta.
Here.
Gregory Burtnett.
Here, and I have the Survey Monkey link.
Fantastic. Yvonne Teniente.
Here.
Robert Doyle.
Here.
Georgina Duran-Khan.
Here.
Jose Aguilera Galvan.
Here.
Tim Seifert.
Here.
John Childers Jr.
Present.
Rosalie Marquez.
Here.
Patricia Solorio.
Here.
Great, thank you. Alicia, can you move the slide to number 3, please? Thank you.
Thanks again. And so during last week's meeting, we heard from agencies applying for public service funding. Tonight, the committee will discuss agencies applying for funding and prepare CDBG allocation recommendations that will go before City Council on Tuesday, April 6th. Tonight's deliberations will only apply to public services. Capital project applications have been left to the City Council to decide. Committee members, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from the February 8th meeting? And if so, can I have a first and second?
I move, Rosalie.
Second, Bob Doyle.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? And are there any abstentions? All right, we should note tonight, the public comment period noted on our agenda at the top of the meeting has been moved to the end of the meeting to follow our deliberations process. We do want to remind everybody that public comment is reserved to accept comments from the public on matters not otherwise scheduled on this agenda. Rosie, if you want to review tonight's meeting protocol and provide additional information and direction to the committee, please.
Sure, thank you, Ryan. Good evening. I'm Rosie Drocol, Community Programs Manager for Special Projects, and I'm also joined with Alicia Vela and Tashina Lawag, and we make up the Special Projects Division. Thank you for being with us tonight. Our meeting protocol tonight, the Block Grants Advisory Committee has already had an opportunity to hear from applicants during individual site visits, as well as during last week's February 8th Block Grants Advisory Committee meeting. That's why attendees tonight will remain muted at all times during the deliberations process. This is merely a process meant for you all to observe. Tonight's deliberations are only for public service applications. Normally we do both public service and capital, but this year is slightly different. Capital project applications will be reviewed by the City Council on Tuesday, April 6th, and Council will also vote on tonight's proposed public service allocations. Next slide. So just a quick overview of the city's funding priorities. As you can see here, they are not in order of importance or priority. It's just more, the numbers are more just listed in order for referencing purposes, but priorities 1 and 2 will be considered for CDBG public service funding tonight. Next slide. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the estimated available funding, we should actually, according to our sources, have actual numbers at the end of this month. But for now, we're going with the estimates, and the estimate is basically what we received last year. So for public services, we are estimating having a little over $244,000 to allocate. Next slide. And then a summary of what we are working with. So we received 19 CDBG public service applications totaling an asking of $353,000. And like I just mentioned, we only have approximately $244,000. Now, also keep in mind that tonight, the Block Grants Advisory Committee will only be allocating a little over $206,000 because we do set aside $37,500 for the City Council to allocate. So each City Council member at the April 6th meeting will have $7,500 to allocate to an agency. No agency will receive less than $15,000. That is the minimum we will be allocating. Next slide. Thank you. So at this time, committee members should share with us if there's a conflict of interest. If a committee member has a conflict, he or she will be asked to abstain from making allocation decisions for that project or that agency, but then we'll be able to participate in the rest of the allocation process. So is there anyone on the committee that has a conflict?
I would like to indicate that I'm on the board of Good Samaritan Shelters here in Santa Maria.
Thank you. So what we will do is once we receive the survey results, the first agency that the committee will decide on and decide on the allocation amount will be Good Samaritan. Greg Burtnett will not be able to participate in that decision. Once that is done, then we can set that aside and only work with the remaining 18 agencies that are before the committee tonight. And Greg will be able to participate because his decision will not sway or will not change the allocation that was voted for Good Sam, if that's what the committee chooses to do. So next slide. So before getting started with tonight's deliberations, it's important to get a feel for where each committee member stands as far as prioritizing the applicants. We have 19 applicants, and there is going to have to be some trimming that needs to be done. So at this time, each committee member will be provided a link to SurveyMonkey. Jose, if you could do me a favor and email me, so that way I can just email you back the link, and I know that there's not going to be, email me from whatever email you want to email me from, so I can email you back that link. Again, make sure you have your link. If you don't have your link, we will definitely make sure you have one so you can vote. But what we'll do is it has the name of all 19 agencies, and then we're going to take about 10 minutes, maybe less, to rank them from 1 to 19, with 1 being the highest and 19 being the lowest. So it's pretty easy. You'll see all of the agencies. They will be listed in alphabetical order. You can move them up and down. You can put numbers next to them. But when you submit it, it'll be ranked from highest to lowest, however it is you want that ranked. And then it'll all be collected by all 12 of you. Because we're missing a committee member, so there's only 12, so there'll be 12 responses, and then it'll give me back the results, and then you'll be able to we'll be able to see kind of collectively where everyone stands as far as or where the committee stands as a whole as far as the priorities, and then you can go from there and make decisions based on that. Does anybody have any questions? Jose, I'm getting ready to send it to you right now.
Okay, I have a question, Rosie. So
Sure.
because I'm not allowed to vote on Good Sam, I guess what I'll do is I'll just put it at the bottom. Obviously, I guess I just put it at the bottom on my Survey Monkey, and then you guys will discount that, or how do you want me to handle that?
No, no. So we thought about that because we're like, because we're not technically, because technically it's not a done deal. It's, I mean, there's still, it still needs, everything still needs to be, it's just a jumping off point. You can still submit your ranking, and wherever it lands, it still needs to be decided on by everyone but you. So whether it ranks 1 or 19, I mean, ultimately, it's, you're not a part of the decision as to how it gets funded, if it gets funded. Because again, just because they're ranked number 1 doesn't mean that that agency is going to get funded if the committee feels like, you know, you know how every year deliberations go. You know, you start in one place, but then you have discussions and you end in another. So it's just meant to be more of a jumping off point. I mean, how does the committee feel about that? Or would the committee like to just go ahead and vote on Good Sam now and then do the Survey Monkey? We can do that as well.
I think we should just allow Greg to vote the Survey Monkey first as the group, because it's part of the collective analysis of the survey. So I don't know that it would skew it dramatically enough to warrant it. And it certainly wouldn't skew it dramatically enough to warrant something that wouldn't be handled later in deliberations.
Okay. Sounds great. Jose, I just, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Greg. I just sent you that email. I'm hoping you got it.
I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yay! That's great. All right. So everybody feel good? Does anybody have any questions before we start the clock?
And if members could, if you have the feature, you know how to use it, if you could just put your hand up when we're done, that way we maybe don't have to use all the 10 minutes allocated for this process. That would be great.
Should we go ahead and
All right,
start the
thank
timer?
you. Sure. Yeah, go ahead and start the timer. If you have any questions, just let me know. We'll be here.
Yeah, Rosie, I had already done it. I'm afraid I stepped away to get a bottle of water and didn't hear the instruction to wait till the actual meeting. So I've already done it. Is that okay?
Yeah, that should be okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Do you want to put your hand up? That way we can kind of see. Oh, look at Bob Doyle too. Wow, you guys are, I thought you guys.
New again. Nick again. 17. Shoot. now you will get noise. Oh.
We do, well, I think somebody might have their mic on. I'm not sure if they want their mic on right now. So I just want to make sure that, we're not putting somebody on the spot who doesn't think they have their. We're almost done. I think we're just waiting for one more.
Rosie, is there going to be a period of time before we get a response back on the analysis? Is it going to be a long wait? Do you know what we can expect?
It'll not more than 5 minutes. It's just gonna go not more than 5 minutes. We're just gonna put the results in the spreadsheet that we work off of. So yeah, we're just as soon as we get that last, we just have one more committee member that still needs to put in their survey. And then once that happens, we'll close it and then move forward. But between that, it'll maybe, yeah, like I said, 5 minutes. If that, if you want to take a break, you can and come back.
Just as a nudge, you do have to hit done and submit, I think, on the survey.
Yes, you're correct. I think you have to press OK and then submit. Thank you, Patricia. That's a good point.
So as we finish up, we can go ahead and take a brief recess afterwards when the timer ends, and unless everybody's in. But I wanted to say that I appreciate everybody doing this, and this is a new process, and I realize that it comes with its own set of complications. It's not something that we took lightly to do, but given the fact that we're deliberating remotely, this sort of helps to expedite kind of where we all stand with our applicants. We should have all reviewed everything thoroughly, and everybody should be familiar with the budgets and the agencies that we're voting on, and that it doesn't, it's not to attempt to try to eliminate discussion as much as it is to try to expedite sort of the decision-making process.
Thank you, Ryan. You're absolutely correct. And oh, here we go. Okay, I was just going to say we're missing one, but it looks like we just got the last one in. So give us a few more minutes just so that we can get those results and put them in our spreadsheet.
This is also,
Thank you all.
I think this is also helpful for us because we need to keep in mind that one of our target goals here, we do have 19 agencies that have applied.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Ryan.
I just lost
Yeah, I
Ryan
think-
myself.
Yeah, Ryan, we just lost you, but I am closing the survey so we can start tallying it. But Ryan, yeah, we just lost you. There you are. Are you back?
Yes, I don't know what happened.
Oh.
But I just wanted to say that we need to keep in mind that we're trying to get the number of recipients down per HUD's recommendations, but also to help our city staff. It's a lot easier on them to not have quite so many agencies, and if we can keep things in line with what HUD is doing and what other communities are doing, that's part of bumping up the grant amounts. It's going to reduce the number of recipients. And I think we all can agree that every recipient, at least every one application that I reviewed, I'd love to fund them all, but there's going to be those that just we cannot, especially during COVID. There's different considerations. And so I just want to say that going in, that we appreciate everybody, all the hard work that the agencies do for such little amount of money. I realize that it is a sacrifice for them. And again, I wanted to thank everybody for the committee members for all the work that you do, and also to the agencies for the hard work that they put in to get the amount of money that they get, and for so many also that don't reap any of the rewards for the hard process of the application process. So thank you, everybody.
Very well said. Thank you, Ryan. All good things. And just so you know, we have our amazing public information manager, Mark Vandekamp, who is currently downloading the data that just went in, and he will be sending us a report, and then we'll update the spreadsheet. And I do also want to add that this is new. We've never done this before, but this we felt would be a way to make the deliberations a bit more efficient and effective. And also we felt that while we could have probably have done this survey and have the committee members do it ahead of time, doing it in a public setting, doing it, agendizing it and doing it at live, I think there's something to be said about that, so that we're as transparent as we possibly can be throughout this whole process. So that's why we didn't do it ahead of time. That's why we waited to do it live and get the results live. So that way, you know, we just wanted to make sure that everyone was able to see the process for themselves. So just give us a few more minutes. This would be a good time to get up, stretch, go grab something to drink, or go to the,
Rosie,
do whatever you need to do for a few minutes. Yes,
Rosie,
Rosalie?
that would also cover the Brown Act, correct? By
Correct,
doing it
yeah,
this
everything
way.
was,
Yeah,
yeah, it was agendized, and yes, yeah,
okay.
we're good.
While we're waiting, those of you who have your hand up for the survey turn in, if you want, you can go ahead and lower them. That way I can recognize people during the meeting if a member would like to be recognized. That'd be helpful for me. Thanks.
Okay, we are updating the spreadsheet. We got the results. I did email the results to the committee members. I did email it to our normal Block Grants Advisory Committee email list. I'm sorry to those that have different emails that we've been using for this meeting, but just for expedited purposes. But we are putting it on the spreadsheet. We just want to make sure we do some quality control and double check our numbers and everything. Mark Vandekamp will also be sending us the scores, which, that way we can just have for documentation, but for tonight's purposes, I think that we should be good. So give us a couple more minutes just so that we can just have a few eyes on it to make sure that we transferred the information properly, and then we'll be right back. All right, thank you so much for your patience. Let me see. I just want to make sure that our amazing public information manager wants to know if he's excused. His job is done. He's done so much for us. Thank you so much, Mark Vandekamp. You're amazing. We got our results, and we've checked them, triple checked them, cross-checked them. And Alicia can put up the spreadsheet now if she would like. We're all back, correct? Do we see everybody here? Yeah, I see everybody.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, thank you so much. And that is the ranking of how the committee as a whole voted.
So,
So at this point, sorry, go ahead, Ryan, I'm sorry.
it's okay. I was just gonna see if Alicia could start putting in the committee recommendation numbers for the top.
Well, before we do that, we do have to segment Good Sam. So before we do any of that, we do have to do that first and be committed to whatever's going to be, if Good Sam's going to get allocated, committed to what that allocation is going to be before we proceed because of the conflict. Otherwise, then Greg won't be able to participate in anything.
Right.
And we don't
Sorry
want
about
that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thanks, and thanks for reminding me.
Sure. So Greg, you don't have to go away, but you just can't participate. Maybe if you can turn off your video just for the process, just so that there isn't any funny faces or anything like that being done.
Rosie, do you have the ability to move them into a waiting room, or you don't?
I do not. I'm sorry. I'm not it's not set up like that. I'm sorry. I would say next time, but hopefully next time we do this, we're not going to be in a pandemic and doing it virtually, but no. Okay, so at this point, we just need to have the committee decide on Good Samaritan, and then we can proceed with everything else.
So I'd like to start off by saying, since Good Sam fell well within the top 10 of the committee's vote, my recommendation would be to fully fund at this time, but I'll open it up to debate.
I second that.
I agree.
Is anybody opposed to that? All right, then I'll make the motion that I'll go ahead and make a formal motion that we fully fund Good Samaritan at the $20,000 mark.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Is anyone opposed?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And just we'll have Greg as the only abstention, I take it.
Yes.
All right, let's welcome him back and get back on track.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Greg. Okay. I do, before we do proceed, are there any contingencies for Good Samaritan that we need to vote on as well? There doesn't have to be, it just want to make sure, because
Again, I don't foresee any because of where they fell in the voted rank. So, and barring something happening later down in the meeting, at this time, I would say no.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, on team 2, no, we didn't put any contingency at all.
So Alicia,
Thank you, Rosie.
would you be able to go ahead and start filling in the top 10, at least until we get to our 206,000 thereabouts by per committee recommendations?
Alicia, if there's any way to make that bigger, that would be fantastic too. Because I think there's room. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Should I just display the top 10 for now, or?
That's good like that.
Okay.
And then,
I'll leave it there.
And then
That's
Jose and Yvonne, unless you have a question that I need to recognize you guys' hands are still up. So I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put my hand down. I'm sorry. I forgot to do that.
No problem at all.
So I'll go ahead and fill in the team recommendations for the top 10 here. Give me a second.
Or at least until you get to the 206,000 that we have for allocation.
Okay, so we have 6,808 remaining.
Is that with the 11 agencies? I'm sorry, could you scroll it down just a bit so we can see the total? Is that over or under?
That's remaining. So I have it set up to reflect the formula here. So this is the total amount, 200,000. And this is how much you guys have to allocate, which is 206,808. So what's remaining is the 6,808.
Thank you. Can we put in the remaining balance to legal aid?
The minimum has to be 15,000.
I'm just thinking that, city council still has their amount to allocate, but I'm not sure how the committee would like to proceed with this balance. We can, we can pluck from one and fully fund another, or we can trim down and fully fund legal aid. But I would like to remind everybody that that would put us at 12 applicants, and that's a little bit higher than we want. But I understand that might be just the way it is.
So I have a question and then a comment depending upon the answer to the question. My question is, can we fund more than 20,000 to any specific agency? And then if we can allocate that 6,808 to one of the above. Or we know that historically speaking, Fighting Back has received allocation from the city council, so we could just put that 6,808 there. And I also like the idea, since legal aid was number 12. So any one of those three solutions, I think is acceptable as far as I'm concerned.
I really don't think it's a good idea to put not enough money. It would force council into a decision that they might not want to make. I would not underfund any of the applicants at this time. I don't think that would be wise for us. I think the city council wants a clear vote. And if we tell them they have 6,000 in one category, then the only way that can get funded is if they put their allocation in there. I think we're forcing their hand. I just don't think that's a great idea.
I agree.
I'll agree
Can
with
we
that.
give one of the $15,000 awards a portion of that 6,808 divided by?
Yeah, we could evenly distribute 1,702 to the applicants that are asking for 15,000, and that would get us where we need to be.
Yep.
Can I ask, are we delivering? What are we doing right now?
We're seeing
Point
where
of
we stand.
order, just really quickly, can I interrupt? Are we
I'm talking right now.
by hand?
Can I please speak? So if we're deliberating, are we deciding, has anyone decided if they like this list or if they want to change this list before we start talking about adding or subtracting? Because I see an agency that I don't want to fund at this level. Are we talking about that kind of stuff, or how's this going to look?
Yeah, this is still it's still open to discussion. So we were just seeing where the money fell based on the survey.
Okay, so the Communify Senior Nutrition was almost $15 for a meal served. I found that incredibly high. We've never funded them. We stopped funding them at about $8 or $9 a meal. I'm not sure. I question them on it, but I mean, I know seniors need money, but as far as good steward, tax funds, money, I can't with a good conscience say I want to fund that agency. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Which
thanks.
one was that again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear. Which one?
I have a point of order. Can I have a point of order, please?
Go ahead, Patricia.
Okay, can we raise our hands and be recognized instead of just jumping in? That would be fantastic.
Oh, okay.
That'd be helpful. Thank you. Go ahead, Patricia. Did you have something else?
Yes, kind of along the lines of what Tim was saying. I don't think that I'm totally comfortable with the top 10, and I would have some suggestions. You know, like New Beginnings, for example, is, you know, trying to get people someplace, a place to park, sadly, that which I think that I would like to discuss some of these. Yeah.
Okay. And you, I'm sorry, Georgina, I think you were first. Did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I agree with Tim in terms of, I think what we've always tried to do is to get the most bang for the buck, so to speak, you know, in terms of where the 20,000 is going. And that's a lot of money per meal when some of these other agencies are doing it for a lot less. And I also agree with Patricia. I'd like to talk about New Beginnings. It's a new program in town. And I'd like to see them at least get a foothold and try to help these folks that I see parked all over town.
Thank you. Yvonne, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't hear John. I forgot. I didn't hear the agency. That
It was
was.
Unify Senior Nutrition. It's the number 10 on our list.
Oh, number 10. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. That's all I had. I just didn't hear.
So I'll go ahead and speak to Unify because I did put them in my top 10. And I realized I do understand what Tim's saying as far as bang for their buck, but I'm considering the bigger picture of they're not just, it's not just them giving somebody a meal. There was more to it. It's the outreach. And so that's what kind of caused them to be higher in my score than I might otherwise have when we're not in a pandemic.
Yeah, because those.
Let's see. I got John Childers. I'll have you go first, John.
Okay, thank you. As I also, the biggest thing I have with those are they're also welfare checks for people that really can't do anything else at this time.
Thank you. The chair recognized Tim Seifert.
Thank you. As far as the parking lot deal, it's a completely unproven in our area. They don't have any record in Lompoc yet to speak of. We have agencies here that are completely viable that need this money. And I don't think this is the time to practice on an agency that is non-proven, such as the parking lot thing. I'm not saying it might not be a good idea in the future, but I think it needs to be looked at. And I think we need to get a history of them and what they're doing, because I didn't see a big history in Lompoc. And then when they say that they're getting housing for people, well, we have Good Sam here, and they really get housing for people, and we know we get the bang for the buck from them. So I wouldn't suggest that that's a good way to spend our money at this time. They don't have a track record. They're not in this town yet, and we have a list, 18 excellent applicants that need this money. So I would say I am totally against the parking lot one for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Recognize Robert Doyle.
Thank you, Chairman. On the senior, and I understand everybody's point on their cost. I've reviewed them through the years many times. But right now, there's very few people doing that because the cost is so high. The way Meals on Wheels, they're lucky how they're contracted, and they have all volunteer people. Their efforts, they do not, Community Unity does not have volunteers, but they are getting the meals out to the people. And I think that's important.
Thanks, Bob.
The other thing is on the other agency, I agree with Tim. Since our city will not allow parking on the street, though we know it happens every day, I think we need to see more of what they're going to do in Lompoc. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Rosalie.
Yeah, I think my question was answered because I wanted to know if the community Communified have paid employees because to have $15 per meal, and that's for 235. Is that right, Ryan? When you visit with them, that they deliver to 235 meals, 235 seniors. That they deliver meals every day to those seniors?
I don't remember offhand.
Yeah, I think that's pretty
Yeah,
close. I
that
can't
is-
remember.
That was correct.
Yeah, but you know, the other problem is they're not even serving hot meals a day because they cannot find a kitchen with capacity to cover that, since they lost the shelter where they did their cooking, and they lost the Santa Barbara School District was their provider, and now they're using VTC. So I think they're doing a good job in a hard time.
Did
So
that answer your question, Rosalie?
Yes,
And I see you,
thank
Greg,
you.
and I see you, Jose. You guys are next.
It's 285 persons, sir.
Thank you, Tim. Greg, why don't you go ahead?
My question about the parking, safe parking shelter is Rosie put a comment that was illegal in the city. So that's why I listed that as 19, because I didn't see anybody refute that. So why would we fund something that the city is saying they don't want to do?
So I would like to, sorry, Greg, before you proceed, I just want to make sure that we're being clear about it. So what I said was it is against the city ordinance, and there at this time the city is not looking to change that ordinance. However, New Beginnings did say that it was willing to use the funding for something else if safe parking was not a possibility. So that I just wanted to make sure before we proceed. I think that's maybe why some people might be. And I don't know if you've missed that part of it.
Thank you, Rosie.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. Sorry, but I think Greg had more to say. I didn't mean to cut him off. I just wanted to make sure.
Greg, were you done?
I'm not offended. But back to the Communify thing, it seems really expensive. I would probably lean towards putting it lower. I know I put it lower on my list, but it's not something that I'm going to fight about. In other words, I would probably lean towards not, but if the committee votes to fund them, I'm not going to complain.
Thanks. Jose, chair recognizes Jose Aguilera.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to mention the same thing that Greg mentioned. And then the second thing is that since Communify is in question, I suggest that if it's swapped out, like if a majority of all of us agree to that, that then the next slot it's given to the next organization in line, which is Legal Aid Foundation.
Thank you. Patricia?
Okay, I have a couple of things. On the ordinance for no parking, I don't know if that would apply to an MOU or an agreement that New Beginnings might strike with, whether it's, Good Sam or the city for a parking area. And just as an FYI, this is a model that's nationally recognized. They've had good success with it in Santa Barbara. And that model has been duplicated, and they do trainings all over. My understanding is that they've been doing trainings all over the country for this model. And I would just advocate that, it makes me sad that that we have to advocate for people to be able to sleep in their cars. I would much rather that we advocate for people to have, safe homes. But if this is what we can do, I would really think that this would be a priority for us. I agree that legal aid needs to be bumped up in this list. Communify can, I love them, but I think that they're a large enough organization that that will continue. But organizations like even community partners in caring, I would prioritize before Communify.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Georgina Duran-Kahn. Georgina? All right, chair recognizes Tim
No,
Seifert.
I'm sorry, I failed to unmute.
Okay, no, it's okay. It's all right. Go ahead, Georgina.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Patricia was saying, but if we're going to be going by these rankings, I don't know how many of us it would take to, to advocate for New Beginnings, because I agree a lot with what she's saying. And I think that they have received these block grants in Santa Barbara and have been successful with it for over, several years now from what from our site visit. So I still believe that that should have been rated higher. However, in terms of the Communify, when I go back and look at the summary, what they're really going to, the number of people that they're going to serve with the CDBG funds is 15 unduplicated persons. So it's not necessarily the 269, which is their overall. It would only be 15 with this amount of money. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Georgina. Tim, chair recognizes Tim Seifert.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm still completely against the parking one. I want to see it work, and I don't like the idea of, well, if we can't get the parking lot, we'll think of something else. We have these agencies here that have already thought of something else. They've given their plans. They have these things already in place, and they know where they're spending money, and we know where they're going to spend the money. As far as moving the legal aid, they're necessary. We have to have these people, and they don't have a good budget. The Communify does. I understand where Robert and the others about feeding. And I'm torn with this because they need food, they need the well checks, but I'm not against that. I'm just nervous about how much money that they're taking as an agency to do. And now we're finding 15. We're only talking about 15. I had read the 255 on there, but she's absolutely right. They're going to fund 15 people, which that's 15 people that need that help. And if I was one of those 15, I would want this, but I would be in favor of moving someone else up in that area, but it certainly wouldn't be the safe parking at this time. I'm not for an unproven program here in Santa Maria. Let's let them go in Lompoc. Let's see how it works. But for right now, legal aid, family service, independent living resource, Unitarian. These are all solid agencies that we have here that need this grant, and I would much rather get it. And whatever you guys decide on the Communify, I mean, I'll vote on that. I'm just one person. I think they do a good operation. I think they're necessary. If I was one of those 15 seniors, I'd want to fund it. But as a block grant advisor, I have a hard time telling the councilmen, council persons, and the mayor that this is a good way to spend our money. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. The chair recognizes Robert Doyle.
I think we should call for a vote on this and vote on Community Unify. Do we want it or don't, and then move on.
Okay, that's
I'd like
good.
to call for a motion.
Can I just see what Rosie and Yvonne have to say real quick?
Yeah, fine.
Okay,
So Rosie, you're next, please. Rosalie.
Okay, Rosie. I just wanted to point out that with the parking issue, there's nothing that we can do about it because there's no city ordinance, and and so it's obsolete. Even though if we want to fund it, they couldn't do anything unless there's a city ordinance. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay.
Thank you, Rosalie. Chair recognizes Yvonne.
Thank you. I actually, our group actually interviewed New Beginnings, and one of the things that I've discovered, and there's a lot of services that overlap. So as you're reading a lot of these reports, they offer great services, and a lot of them overlap, and they offer the mental health and housing. But the one thing about New Beginnings that struck with me, as Patricia mentioned, was that they are nationally recognized. There's a big need in Santa Maria. Even though they don't have a parking lot, they still do outreach to people in cars. And the people that are living in their cars are typically your working poor. They're living check by check. From what I understood from the woman who was speaking on it, and there's a lot of, you have to have a special kind of skills to approach vehicles and to do outreach. I mean, these aren't people that are coming to you in a safe location and coming to you in an office and with an appointment, or these are people that are in their cars and they're willing to go out and see these people in their vehicles. I mean, that's something I've never seen in this area, and there's a big need for that. I mean, I work at a college, and a lot of our students live in their vehicles. And the fact that there is someone that is willing to go out to these vehicles and help them is something I've never seen. And I've been in education and social work for over 20 years. And so they were actually ranked really high with me, New Beginnings. The Communify, as somebody had mentioned, I would hate to be one of those 15 seniors that, didn't get a meal. So I don't know, do they lose a meal if they're not, if we don't fund them? I mean, I would hate to see that happen, but that's just what I wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne. So Chair's going to recognize Tim, but I do see you, Patricia. So stand by. Go ahead, Tim.
Left my hand up, Chair, sorry.
No, that's all right. Patricia, did you have something else?
No, I think you can wait. I put my hand up, I think after, I forget who suggested we vote on Communify. So I'm glad to do that.
Thank you. Okay, Robert Doyle made a motion to vote on this, and Rob Doyle did. Can you clarify again what motion you wanted to make?
I think I would like to make a motion that we take a vote of the members and see how many support removing this agency off the list.
Or at least just taking it off our top 10 then?
Off the top 10, yeah.
Want to do it by hand raising or something? Make it easy.
That sounds good to me, if that's fine with everybody. So if you
that would be very good.
So I'll make a motion that if you are for removing Communify Senior Nutrition from the top 10, from the top 11 on our list, go ahead and put your hand up now. And if you don't have your hand up, that'll be considered a.
Ryan, I second it.
Thank you. And then I can't see everybody. I don't know if Rosie, if you can see everybody with their hand up. I have to reformat my display.
Yeah, I'm making a note of it here. So I have the hands up to remove Communify: Robert Doyle, Tim Seifert, Rosalie Marquez, Greg Burtnett, Jose Aguilera, Patricia Solorio, Jason Tamura, Georgina Duran Khan, Esther Acosta. Give me 1 second. Sorry, let me just scroll.
I think it already passed.
And that is it. That is it for the yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 yeses. And then we have a total of 12 members tonight. So 3 no's. That would include Rosalie, Yvonne, and Ryan. Oh, hold on a sec. Did somebody not? Do I see somebody twice on here?
No, I think Rosalie put her hand down.
Okay, Rosalie, you put your hand down.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought, okay, I'll raise it back up again.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Jose, I think, pointed that out. So for nays, I have Yvonne, Ryan, and John Childers Jr. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much.
So let's see if you want to remove the 15,000 that's allocated for Communify, and then go ahead and put legal aid at 20,000. That might just about take care of our extra balance.
I agree.
Although I need to throw another monkey wrench in there when you want to recognize.
Sure thing. Hang on 1 second. So I want Chair recognizes Jason Tamura, unless you.
Sorry, I was just lowering my hand from the first one.
All right, no problem. Jose, you had something?
My apologies.
No problem. Esther?
Nothing, I forgot to lower my hand.
That's all right. Go ahead, Patricia. Chair recognizes Patricia.
Okay, good. So thank you so much. I just also I need to lift up the Unitarian Society for the warming centers. I mean, so if we're talking about our most vulnerable population, these are folks that need some place to go when it is cold, like it is tonight. We thankfully don't have weather like Texas is experiencing and other places, but it is still very cold, and they are the most vulnerable. They don't even have a car. I mean, if we're talking about again, like I said, the most vulnerable population. So I just want to lift them up and hope that I can have some discussion around that. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have anything to add?
I agree with Patricia
Okay.
regarding, yes. Okay.
And Robert Doyle?
If I understand right, they are only open when the weather is a certain climate. So like tonight, they're not going to be open because it's over 40. So they are a limited amount. I'm not disputing what they do because they do good work. But I think we have to realize they're not open every night where Good Sam is open every night for people. So we should think. I have another idea, and I'm just going to mention this. And if we take the top 3 at 20,000 and put everybody else at 15, we probably could pick up one more agency. I know you don't want to go that many agencies, but that's an idea we could do. So I'll just throw that out. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Georgina, the chair recognizes Georgina Duran.
I'm sorry. I'd like to see what Robert's proposal would look like. I know we want to cut back, but in these times of the pandemic, with so many of these agencies doing important work, really there isn't one here that I'd say shouldn't be funded. So if we could, because of the situation that we're in, look at what Robert suggested so that we could maybe get another agency in there during these hard times, I would agree.
I would agree with that.
Thank you, Georgina. Chair recognizes Tim Seifert.
Yeah, I would agree with what she just said because I'm sitting here trying to figure out where are we going to get the money. Catholic Charities, they're having struggles. They got a new system. Their application didn't come on great, but I mean they still do great work. So where are we going to get the money? And I think that Robert made a good point. Let's see where that comes out. Let's see what the money looks like, and we can talk about it then.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Greg Burnett.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the fact that I put Unitarian Society as #1 on my list because I also believe, but I need to say that, okay, so we have in this way, I think we need to stay with what we've said for several years now, 5-6 years. We need smaller number. So I would propose we keep what we have right here and we give $904 to DVS and $904 to SART. And oh no, actually I messed up. So $602 or something. So North County Rape, DVS, and SART. And if we do that, we keep our number to 11, which is something we've been shooting at, and we're done.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Jose Aguilera.
Yeah, I was just going to second what Greg said. I totally agree.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Rosalie Marquez.
I agree with Robert. Let's try and see what happens.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Tim Seifert.
Don't we have an issue with SART this year? Rosie, can you, they didn't come out high on the scale and they haven't been using their funds. We're looking for money. Would this be a place that it could come from? Haven't they had a hard time using all their money and fill it and doing everything that they need to do? Rosie?
So as I have shared with the committee, we put together an annual staff analysis. And in this staff analysis, we do report back to the agency on, report back to the committee on each agency's performance as far as, how they're submitting the request for payments, how often, how accurate, whether they're using their funding, whether they're leaving money on the table. And that's done for every single applicant. And SART did come in at, our rating scale is a 5-point scale. They came in at 2. A 2 means agency did not submit more than 3 of the required documents in a timely manner, requires extensive follow-up, and or did not fully expend its allocation in previous years. So that has been our performance evaluation for SART.
We did fund them.
And you all have copies. You all have copies of this. Yes, they were funded in 2021.
So maybe this would be the year that they didn't get funded, and then they could apply again next year and understand that they have to meet the requirements, fill out the paperwork, and do what they agree to do. Maybe that's an option. We have them down for 15,000. That could go to one of the other agencies that there's nothing wrong with that Unitarian Society. They do a great job. Legal aid, all of those, independent living. They're an incredible agency. I can't believe we don't have money for them. Every time I visit in them, the work they do is excellent. So, and I think they did their reporting. So we have an opportunity to look at SART, and that could be another one where maybe we don't fund them this year, and we fund someone else instead.
Thanks, Tim.
Roberts, I do want to see Robert's matrix. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. The chair recognizes Patricia.
Sorry, yes, I'm totally cool with that. Although I just want to make sure the legal aid one, Tim, I might help me back me up on this one, but the services that they're providing right now during COVID are critical. I just would not be, I would be really uncomfortable with not having them in the top 10. So if we can do it with, how Robert suggested, and try and squeeze in legal aid, I could do that. Otherwise, I'm going to have to gnaw on your ear until we can do an agreement.
I think legal aid is funded, Patricia, 20,000. I believe that. Am I incorrect?
No, you're right. You're right.
They're funded at this point, Patricia.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. It's just really small. I can barely see. So, okay. All right. Well, then I'll leave you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Jason Tamura, and I see you, Greg, if you're still waiting.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that with SART, when we met with them, they did mention that they did have those problems with the allocations. And Rosie asked that we ask them about that. And they have changed their funding, the way that they're using the money for this year to address that issue. So going forward, it may not be as much of a concern as it was this year. But I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the committee before we move forward. That's all.
Thanks, Jason. And I think I'm going to go ahead and ask if Alicia will go ahead and make those adjustments that Bob Doyle had recommended. But I would like to remind the committee members that we are trying to get the number of recipients down. Like I said, it's just coming from HUD, and it also helps the city staff. And if we start getting into 12 and 13, you keep in mind that the city council also has money set aside to allocate to additional agencies. So that's going to put us in the 15 range. It's kind of getting, it's kind of like mission creep. We're getting out of where we need to be. So I'd like everybody to keep that in mind. But Alicia, if you want to go ahead and divvy up as Bob Doyle has suggested, and we'll see how that looks, please.
Sure. So that's
and just for.
Go ahead, Rosie.
Sorry, go ahead, Alicia. I was going to get clarification.
Okay, so it was the 1808 and divided amongst North County rate prices, DVS and SART. Is that?
Robert, jump in.
No, I was suggesting, and looking at the numbers, that from 3 agencies, if we took 5,000, right, that would give us one more agency we could do. And I want to point out, I did, that would be Catholic Charities. Skipping Good Sam, I think we should leave them at 20. I'm surprised they're so low. COM and Community Partners in Caring down to 15, we could pick up one more agency. So what's everybody's opinion on that?
Hate the idea of cutting COM.
I would say that our chairman pointed out, remember that, and that's true, we got, the city council has money, and last year, I think they funded, so maybe we should stay hard with the number and let the city council pick 2 more groups. Just another idea.
Good ideas.
And then that's going to raise the number of people we have to deal with.
Chair recognizes Greg Burnett.
I just want to reiterate, thank you, Chairman. I just want to reiterate that we have been trying to lower our number, and the chairman is correct that City Council is going to get 1 or 2 more agencies. So I just think that we should divide that 1808 instead of trying to add another one. As much as everybody here, I mean, we all agree, we want all of these agencies to be fully funded, but I think we need to stick with the plan. What we have here, divide out the 1808 and give the extra $2 that the math leaves to North County, for example.
Thanks, Greg. Chair recognizes Tim Seifert.
Rosie, so what's your thought? What if we have 15 agencies? Is that a deal breaker? Or I mean, we used to have a heck of a lot more. So is that something, an unrealistic number of agencies? Should we worry about that, or should we try the 15,000? What's your opinion on that? You'll be handling these grants.
Right. I mean, this happens every year, and every year we say the same thing, that it's HUD's recommendation that we do have less subrecipients because it becomes too labor intensive. For, you know, if you have smaller grant amounts, it does really know, for most agencies, it's not really doing them any helping them out by giving them smaller grant amounts. And it's not helping administratively either, since the cost of administering one of these grants is pretty high. So ideally, if we can keep it at 10, that is the ideal based on the allocation, the amount that we have to allocate. And also keep in mind that more than likely, historically, in the last few years, that we have been giving funding to our city council to allocate, we walk away with a couple new agencies. So at least one new agency. So something to keep in mind. So it's not ideal, but it's, we'll just explain it to HUD.
How many did we fund last year?
It was pretty high. I think it was, I can tell you right now, 16, I believe. 15. And I think committee had recommended 13, and I think council came back with 2 more.
Alicia, the screen is frozen where I can't see everything. It's like a screenshot. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Patricia Solorio.
Thank you. Sorry, I need to pedal back a little bit, because did we have a solution to SART? Are we keeping them in this, or are we removing them? Because then that would be an additional 15,000 that we could divide, and that would remove one agency, and we could divide the 15,000 or 16,000, whatever, into the other.
I'll put it to a vote, Patricia, if that's okay with you, but I'd like to recognize Georgina if you're done.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
before we vote, I just wanted to say one more time that I understand and I totally agree that we need to cut back on the number, but given the situation that we're in, and we're not out of the pandemic yet, and these are still helping some of the most needy in our community. So if we do pick up another one agency, I think it would be worth it, because there's a huge safety net that these folks need. And I just, before we totally say we're going to cut it out, I'd still like to look and see what Robert's numbers do, and who that other agency would be that we would fund.
Well, my guess would be it would be the next one down on the list, then per our vote. But we can shake that out here in a second. I'm going to ask Alicia, do you guys want to do that? Do we want to break it out and go by Robert's recommendation just to see, and then we can see where we stand?
Thank you.
And then the chair recognizes Tim Seifert.
If we do cut SART, then, and we do Robert's method, that will gain us 2 extra, not just 1.
Thank you. So what shall we do? Do you guys want to vote on SART first and see if we keep it as a funded agency, or do you want to see Robert's allocations first?
I vote we look at SART.
All right, let's discuss SART then. Why don't we do by putting up your hands to vote? If you think we should remove SART from the list of allocated agencies, go ahead and raise your hand. And then Rosie, I'll leave it to you to count. And I'm not sure that we need a motion to vote this way or not, but we can do that if we need to.
We don't need a motion if you're just deciding whether to keep it, take it, or leave it, because it's not a it's not a final thing. It's just more just a discussion. But right now I have to remove, I have Ryan Fisher, Robert Doyle, Tim Seifert, Rosalie Marquez, Patricia Solorio, Georgina Duran-Kahn, and Esther. Am I missing someone? Okay, and then so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 to remove and 5 to keep.
So based on that, Alicia, if you want to go ahead and remove the 15,000 that we had allocated for the SART, and then go ahead and put it under Fighting Back, since they're the next on our list, that would be helpful. Thank you. And that puts us pretty close to it. It's the same spot where we were with numbers. I think I'll put it to another proposal to put to a vote will be if committee members want to see Bob Doyle's plan of divvying out the allocations as he suggested, which if we need a reminder, I'll have Bob go back over it.
Okay, I was just suggesting that now we've changed things around. Let's see, that we take three organizations that we take 5,000 from. One is Catholic Charities, which we only gave 15 last year. Then the second one was COM, and I know Tim didn't like that one. And then, well, we could do it anyway because we have a couple. I think we just need to take 3 and lower them is what I'm trying to say. That have 20, and leave the top 3 and Catholic Charities alone, and between the other ones, pick lower 3 agencies.
Well, I'm going to have everybody vote on this, whether we do this or not, because that is going to kick us up into the 12 12 agencies. So everybody, if you'd like to please now vote. So if you'll raise your hand if you would like to see Bob Doyle's recommendation. All right, I think that's everybody should have voted by now. Rosie, if you can give me a quick count.
I see 8 hands up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, 7 does it. So if we want to go ahead and
7. Yeah. Yeah, I see 8. If somebody can check. Did somebody lower their hands? Now I only see 6.
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
now I see
I
7.
see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see 7.
7. Okay, thank you. Yeah, people keep moving around in my screen, so I'm missing. Okay, 7. Great.
If you open up the participants list on the right-hand side, you could see them down the side instead of having to look at.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
so
All right.
Alicia,
So yeah.
if you don't mind, go ahead and adjust the numbers per Robert Doyle's recommendation.
We didn't pick which ones we were going to take from, Ryan. We talked about from the 20,000 more than one.
It sounded like CALM and then CPC and then legal aid. Those are the 3 we would take $5,000 from, and we would add it to the Unitarian Society.
Yeah, and then the thing with CALM is if we don't take care of the babies, they're going to grow up to be in need of all of these services. That's my thing with CALM. If we can teach these people how to treat their kids that are abusing their children, and I mean these are babies. It's unbelievable what happens. I just feel very strongly that we have to break the chain. And if we can stop this abuse of babies and small children, then maybe they'll have a chance to not need the funding from these other agencies.
Does anybody else a suggestion?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say to Tim, and I support what Tim's saying, but if you look at what we gave them last year, we gave them 15,000. So
just one.
On COM last year, we gave them 15,000. It says.
I know I'm just one person, but I just feel very strongly about this one, Robert. So that's why I want.
Yeah, I know it's a I'm not going to use a great organization. They're all great organizations, but it does touch your heart.
We voted. I think we voted, and the vote was we look at. It's not a final statement, but we look at what does it look like. We take CALM and CPC and legal aid, drop them to 15,000, and put 15,000 in Unitarian, and we just need to. I mean, to be honest, I will vote for that. I will say that's okay. I think. And then we just need to figure out, maybe put the 1808 on, let's see, it would be North County rape, and then we can be done and then hold a vote. That would be my suggestion.
Well, I'm against giving an agency, especially in this funding cycle, more than they're asking for. So if anything, we're going to I would recommend tacking that $1,800 back on to CALM and put that back on there.
I will vote for that. I will side with Ryan on that.
So if that's okay, if we can just see how those numbers look, Alicia, that'd be helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so let me see. It's Can you clarify which one? I just want to make sure I have to put community partners in caring, legal aid, and COM to 15. Is that correct?
Put calm at
1608. 16808.
16808,
Okay.
and then CPC at 15, and then legal aid at 15, and then Unitarian at 15, and that brings us to 0.
I'd also like to remind committee members that we don't have our final hard grant numbers, and haven't we historically, like in the last few years, been getting more? We get more from HUD generally than we anticipated. So there may be enough left to fully fund some of these agencies.
We will adopt contingencies after this initial, after this is voted on. So we'll adopt contingencies as to what you want to do if we get more money and what you want to do if we get less money.
Thank you, Rosie. I'm going to make a motion that we vote on, that we accept these as our allocations.
I second the motion.
So if you want to vote by hand, all in favor?
Are we raising our hand in favor? Yes?
Yes.
I think I got it right.
Before we finish the vote, could I ask one question?
Of course, go ahead, Georgina.
Yeah, my only question, because I'm ready to finalize this, other than I would like to just have some discussion about Unitarian versus the Independent Living Resource Center being funded. Because as it was pointed out earlier, that the Freedom Warning Center isn't open all the time, but these people that have disabilities are in need every day. And so that's the only hesitancy I have in voting for the final allocation.
Okay, that's fine. Can I ask Rosie or Alicia where we stand on the votes? My format doesn't allow me to see everybody. Well, I can't see everybody at once.
Sure, I can. So as far as the hands that I see up for yeses to accept, I have Greg Burtnett, Jason Tamura, John Childers Jr., Tim Seifert, Rosalie Marquez, Robert Doyle, Ryan Fisher, and Esther Acosta. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Can we see the whole screen again, Alicia? Well, I've got to, I mean, she brings up an excellent point. It's hard to see when it's moving around, but the independent, they do great work for people that every day. So nobody likes to be cold, but these people are deaf and they have disabilities. I wouldn't be opposed to looking at that.
They actually help people with all kinds of disabilities. It's just not the deaf people anymore.
Yeah, even better, they've expanded their services. I would look at that.
Yes, exactly.
I could support that. We don't have an organization supporting disability, so it seems it would be equitable to have that discussion.
They would only fund 20 persons with the money they're asking. Is that correct with the team 4? Team 4 interviewed them, and according to the report, the goal is to serve 20 persons with this funding.
Well, I mean, Rosie, the motion passed, correct, to run with this budget as it sees fit. I'm open to further discussion, but I don't know what else there is to change. We can all say they're all great agencies, all the way down to the last one, but the reality is decisions have to be made, and council will have the opportunity to make additional decisions. So I don't know what else there is to discuss. I'm happy to discuss it if you guys want to. But I don't know what else to say about it.
Can
I just wanted,
Go ahead, Georgina.
yeah, I just quickly wanted to say, it's really hard when we look at their budget, and it's always a struggle for me when I see their outputs and their outcomes, because, with Calm, I think they're going to see 10 residents with the money. And then here with independent living, they're going to see 20. So it's hard to say what the impacts are. But again, I feel for the people when it's cold, and I understand that, but these people are struggling every day of their lives, and these people help them to get into housing and stay housed. And especially now, I was fascinated by doing their shared housing to get more people to share more. And especially because if they're sharing with especially with other disabled, and they won't have to be retrofitted and things like that. So if it is passed, it's passed. But I just wanted to make that pitch in terms of, when we're comparing how many people are going to be served, and we look at other agencies, sometimes it's comparing apples and oranges.
Thank you, Georgina. Bob Doyle, did you have something?
Sorry. One thing I think we have to draw a line somewhere, and we actually voted on it. So I think we're actually committed to that. But my question is to staff. I know they give the council the total book, but I was wondering if there would be a section in that book that the bottom 5 would be, so the council could look at those and see if there's something in there for those, or 7, those who did not get money, to look at those instead of going back to the other agencies. So that way we would get 2 more agencies maybe from the council.
I don't think we can tie their hands, Robert.
No, I don't think we can. I just say stack that on top. All right.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else? Last minute stuff. I'm going to stick with the fact that we voted on this, and I believe that it is passed, barring any other deliberations. I think we can move on to contingencies, if that's okay.
Yes.
So yes. So I just want to make sure that, is it safe to say that the 4 that did not raise their hands are saying nay? They're not abstaining, obviously, but I just want to make sure we have that for the record.
Yeah, I didn't raise my hand, but because again, it passed, so it passed. But again, I thought we were going to try to focus more on the overall goal to, minimize the amount of agencies we're helping out to maximize the help we're giving. That was all. But if it passed, it passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to contingencies. I'll let staff make their recommendations, since they're the ones who are going to have to deal with it if they haven't.
Okay. Usually it's the committee that chooses how they would like the contingencies to be handled. I think Greg has a suggestion or question.
Yeah, I thank you very much, Rosie. I would just say that for the agencies that we have funded, but we did not give the full amount, the contingency is, I move that the contingency is that we more fully fund in our order. That would mean Calm would be first to receive full funding, and then CPC would be the second to receive full funding and go down the line. The other option is we take whatever more money we have and divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But my motion is that for contingency, we start with Calm and fully fund their requested amount until we run out of money. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Do we need
Okay,
to, do
so
we need to add the
I'm
lower
sorry.
if we get less money?
Yeah,
In
so
the same,
can you please repeat that motion? This is to in case we get more money.
Okay, so my motion is, assuming we get more money, then we take the additional funding and we start, I believe it's at Calm. So Calm would then get $3,192 more. So they'd be funded to 20,000, and then CPC would get $5,000 more. And we just go down until we run out of more money. So that's part A of the contingency. It seems to me, I remember that when we've done this in the past, we've kind of had part A and then part B on the contingency.
And the reason you're starting with Calm is because that
They're the
is
highest. We rank them the highest at the beginning. No other reason. I mean, there is another option.
Calm is number 8. Food Bank is the highest.
I understand that. I'm sorry, but the highest ranking that we did not fully fund.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. And you're comparing it to their requested amount?
Correct.
Okay. So, so what you're saying is basically fully funding what their requested amount is and going from that and using the survey ranking as how we start until we run out of money.
Yes.
That's my suggestion. Yes.
But I think it's
Okay,
not just
thank you.
I think it's not just the requested amount, it also goes to the team recommendation amount.
Okay, there's a difference because there's a team recommendation and then there's the requested amount. So which one do you want to go with?
Well, you are correct. There is a differential on one of them. I can't remember. I'm looking to find it right now. But on the ones that are relevant to this question, I see. Fighting Back Santa Maria is the one. Fighting Back Santa Maria is the one that team recommended 15,000. My motion is that we fully fund their requested amount until we run out of money. And we can go the other 2 ways as well, but that's just my motion.
I'm fine with that. Bob Doyle, did you have something to add?
no, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. Is that clear, Rosie, for you guys?
Yes, thank you. We just need to vote on it.
Okay. All in favor, if you want to go ahead and raise your hand.
I see 8 hands. What do you all see?
I also see
Hey.
8.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Now we need a contingency if the grant amount is less, correct?
Correct.
So we'll do the reverse, and I will recommend that we take from the agencies starting at the bottom based on their requested amount.
I second. Rosalie seconds.
Thank you, Rosalie.
So remove it from the bottom but remove it, but not go below 15,000 because we can't go below 15,000.
Correct.
Right, up until the point where they, can't, where they hit that
So then
threshold.
so the first one would be calm.
Correct.
Okay, and then Good Sam, and then Catholic Charities, and then Alliance Pharmaceutical. Okay.
Unless somebody
All
else,
right.
that's my suggestion, but if somebody has a different,
Is that what you meant? I don't think that came through correctly. I think you said the requested amount, right? Could you, I'm not sure that was correct.
yeah, it was the requested amount, but it's fine the way it was articulated. So that I'm fine with that.
How was it articulated? Could you do it again? I'm not clear.
Should be the recommended amount.
So Tim, the issue is that we can't go below 15.
I understand.
So it doesn't really matter. So it doesn't really matter what they were recommended or what the team requested, because at the end, for example, Unitarian Society is at 15. It can't be below 15. So the first agency, we're going from the bottom up, the first agency that has over 15,000 is COM. The next agency is Good Sam. The next agency is Catholic Charities. So my understanding was that the suggestion was that we start from the bottom up and we remove funding, but not have them go below 15,000, which I believe was the recommendation last year. If we did get less funding.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought how we did it.
Thank you.
So Ryan made a motion and Rosalie seconded. Do you all want to vote, or is there more discussion?
I'm ready to vote.
I'm also, we could also, well, I'll let us vote and see where we stand.
Are we voting?
Yes.
I see quite a few hands up. I see 12, I think all 12.
Yeah.
Everybody says yay.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. And one more thing, do we have any contingencies for any of the agencies that have been awarded funding? Is there anything specific you would want to attach to an agency's use of the funding?
I have no suggestions, but I'm open to hear what any members might have.
Yeah, I have none at this time.
Okay, I think we can go back to our slide, our PowerPoint presentation, unless anybody wants to. I think we're almost done. Thank you, Alicia. So we've voted on the segmented public service activity, which was Good Sam. We voted on the unsegmented, which were the other 18, and we adopted our contingencies. So we've accomplished what we came here to do. 2 more slides to go. So at this time, we would like to open this up for public comment. This time is reserved to accept comments from the public on matters not otherwise scheduled on this agenda. And give me 1 quick second and I will go through and allow everyone to speak because I'm unmuting everyone that's on the attendee side. So give me 30 seconds to just go through and unmute everyone.
And Rosie, you'll moderate that for me? the public comment component?
Yeah, definitely. If there's anybody that has public comment.
3 minutes.
Okay, yes, maximum of 3 minutes. It looks like everybody on the attendee side should have the ability to speak. If there's anybody who would like to go first, please do so. I don't hear anybody. Hello?
Rosie, can they raise their hands?
Yeah, would you like to raise your hands if you have something to say? We might not have anybody who would like to say anything.
Looking at
That's not
looking at participants, the mayor is the only one that is not muted.
Yeah, Mayor Patino.
Yes.
Are you hoping to say? Oh, there you are. Yay. Okay, great.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay. Did you want me to say something?
Oh, your mic was open, so we weren't sure if you wanted to say something or.
Oh, no, there's a little thing box popped up here. It said, the host would like you to unmute. So that's what I did. I'm good at following directions.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Well, thank you so much for being here. You were here last week and you sat through the whole 2.5 hours, and you're sitting through another 2.5 hours on top of everything you've got going on. So we really appreciate you being with us tonight.
Well, I enjoy the deliberations because it's really, there's always more. The need is always greater than the resources, as we well know. But I enjoy watching the deliberations, so thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Patino. Okay, I don't know if we have anybody else who would like to speak. I keep looking to see if there are any hands. I don't see any hands.
If that's the case, I'm going to move. Go ahead and.
Oh, one second. I see a hand up. And this is Kristen Cahoon from Good Samaritan Shelter.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you to the committee. As a community member, thank you. I've enjoyed listening, and I know how much time and effort all of you have put into this and how grueling this might be for you. And I just really appreciate your support of all these incredible nonprofits. And as part of Good Sam, thank you for always supporting the work we do. Me personally believe that the funding that comes from the city is our most important, because it just really shows that you guys are behind our mission and what we do. And it's just really appreciated. So thank you guys so much for all your time and effort. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, right back.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Yes, thank you for what you do.
Okay.
So with that, I'll adjourn the meeting at 7:48, if that's okay, unless somebody else has something.
Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that all of the recommendations tonight will go before the City Council on April 6th. Also, they'll receive the capital project information, and they'll also make recommendations on the capital projects and the allocations for them. And the meeting will more than likely be via Zoom or live streamed. So we'll make sure you all have access to the link. And our next regular Block Grants Advisory Committee meeting is Monday, March 8th at 5:30, more than likely virtually. And that's just a monthly, we meet every second Monday of the month to conduct regular business. We will go ahead and send these recommendations out to all of you. And then as soon as we can, we'll post tonight's meeting online as we did last week's. Can't promise it'll be anytime soon because I think it's a little tough to link it to our system, but we'll get it done. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Ryan, back to you for adjournment.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:49. I want to thank everybody for your hard work on this. We had a lot of applications to review. It's never an easy process, but you know, we do what we can do. So thanks again. I'd like to thank the mayor for joining us again, and I'll see you all at the next meeting. Thank you.
Good
Yes,
job.
thank you.